Today I've got some spraying to do around the house, so I'm going to introduce you to our sprayer. This is made by FIMCO Industries, and it is a popular 3-point hitch sprayer that you can get at Tractor Supply. They also make a version for ATVs. It's a great sprayer. I highly recommend it. So we'll go through some of the features of this and then we'll get spraying. I've got a lot of driveway work that needs to be done and some work around the house. So hopefully we'll get it all sprayed and cleaned up. I'm not a huge fan of spraying at all, but sometimes it's just absolutely necessary. And for the application that I'm using our sprayer for today, it's one of those things where when you're a one-man shop trying to maintain 30 acres, it makes life a lot easier. This is a sprayer. You can get these at Tractor Supply. This is just kind of a small sprayer, medium utility, 3-point hitch. I've had this for years. I haven't had any problems with it. So I think it's a nice little sprayer. I've looked at ways of extending the arms out the boom longer with PVC piping. I haven't actually done that because I don't use this a whole lot in our open fields. I use it mainly in a general landscape around our house or using it to spray fence lines. What I do like about this is it's an electronic pump and it's very easy to hook up. You just have to hook your positive and your negative up. They're kind of like jumper cables. I'll show you where I hook these up on my tractor. And then you have an on-off switch which turns the pump on and off. Up top here you have a couple different knobbies that you can turn. One of them is called the bypass, and I use this primarily when I'm filling or right after I've filled, or if it's been sitting for a few minutes before I pump. I'll usually turn this on even if I'm just driving it around to a spot where I am going to be using it, because this will cycle the water that's in here, and with the chemicals you have in there, it helps kind of stir everything up and mix it in. So the bypass is a great feature of this that I use on a regular. And then the other knob up here that you have to turn on and off is the boom. The reason why you have a knob to turn the boom on and off is because you want the pump to be able to run and build up pressure, number one. It will build up the most pressure if the bypass is off. Number two, there is a wand, and I love this feature. This is probably the most handy thing. You have a wand with about a 20-foot hose, so you could walk around and hand spray a lot of areas that you can't get to with the boom. That makes this sprayer extremely versatile for somebody like me. I can run the boom along driveways, and I do sometimes spray the grass immediately around our house, especially in areas where poison ivy has tried to come back up. I also like having the hand sprayer so that I could spray around the foundation of the house. Right now, the foundation of the house is very overgrown. In fact, that's what I'm going to be doing today, is spraying the foundation of our house, spraying our driveway. We have weeds coming up all over our driveway. It's just starting to look pretty shabby. I'm also going to be spraying our fence lines, in which case I'll be using the hand sprayer and not the boom. And I'll be spraying in some areas of ditches in front of our property that are hard to maintain. We just simply don't have the time or resources right now to go out there with a weed whacker and cover 1,700 feet of road frontage to make it look pretty. So we're just going to spray it and treat it, and then in a few months we'll spray it again. This is a great little sprayer. Today I am using a Groundwork, a super weed and grass killer. This is for the driveway and around the house or around buildings where I don't want any vegetative growth. I've also used Graze-On Next in this, and I'll be using another product called Pasture Pro on some of the areas that I spray today, and then respray with Pasture Pro as well. Pasture Pro, I'll actually cover a lot more ground. I buy the big jugs of the weed killer. I usually only buy a small container like this of such a harsh chemical, because I don't really like these chemicals that just kill everything, but at this point it's necessary. So on the top here you'll see we have our boom control, our bypass, and then the handgun comes out here. Handgun kind of snaps into place and hangs on top here. And then what we have right here is our electric wire. Now this can come off, and then it just kind of plugs right in here. It's DC power, so it's going to go right into our tractor. This is our pressure gauge, which tells us what the PSI is in the tank. And I normally just watch the pressure gauge before I turn everything on, but really when this high flow pump, when it reaches the 60 PSI pressure, it's going to switch off automatically. So it'll only work when it's below 60 PSI, and then it'll constantly pump it back up to 60 PSI. And then to connect this, these electrical wires aren't going to be able to reach all the way up into our battery compartment. So on either side of the starter here, we have a positive, and then right under here, there's a negative ground bolt for our battery cable. So I can connect both of those right there. The nice thing about connecting them there is that my on-off switch is then right here by my seat, so I could easily reach down and click this on or off. So this is very, very simple to hook up. It connects just with your standard 3-point hitch system. Very simple sprayer, easy to use. The other nice thing about this sprayer is right down here you have a way of dumping out the fluid that's in there. I'll go over cleaning a tank in another episode, but what we'll normally do is when we're done spraying, we'll empty out the remaining fluids that are in the tank, we'll wash it out, and we use a neutralizer to help stabilize the tank and clean it. Now this water line right here is actually on this front side. We have a 40 gallon, 30 gallon, 20 gallon, etc. I have it filled up to the 30 gallon mark because the chemical that I'm using makes up to 30 gallons. If it makes up to 30 gallons, it means I'm using the most recommended diluted version of the chemical. I don't like using harsh weed and grass chemicals, so I want to mix it to the highest recommendation as far as dilution. That way it's still effective, but it's not as potent. Now when I fill this up, I try and put this all the way down on the ground so I get a nice level surface for measuring the amount of fluid that's in the tank. And then I'll just simply lift it up with the hydraulics of the tractor. This is fairly heavy at the moment because it is full of 30 gallons of water. However, when this is empty, it's actually very lightweight and easy to attach to the tractor, which is another thing that I really like about this FIMCO model. Right now I've got everything turned off. The boom is off, my bypass is off. We're going to go ahead and turn this pump on. Now after turning the pump on, it jumped up to 60 PSI fairly quickly. This is a pretty powerful little pump, so it doesn't take much.